Hello, welcome to 30 Minutes. I'm Rick Anthony. I've known Bob Madonna for several years as an entrepreneur and as a passionate and effective advocate for various charities and causes in the area. So I wasn't too surprised when I learned that he had taken on a new responsibility as president and CEO of Surrey Services for Seniors, Inc., a nonprofit provider of comprehensive home care for seniors with 4 locations in Delaware County and Chester County. It's the perfect leadership role for someone who has started and nurtured businesses throughout his career, applying his business skills in a number of instances to nonprofits to demonstrate that nonprofits can do as well as for-profit organizations if they apply the same basic business principles. Welcome to 30 Minutes.
Thank you very much.
Glad to see you. It's taken forever to get together.
Well, I'm thrilled.
You're a busy guy.
And yourself, and I'm thrilled. I'm honored to be with you, and we've known each other for quite a few years. Yep. And as I may have mentioned earlier, today is my 1-year anniversary of being the president and CEO of Surrey.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. So I made a year.
Wonderfully serendipitous.
And it's been a wonderful, wonderful time, and we'll chat a little about it. You'll understand why, and why my passion for what I do is growing every day.
I became aware of Surrey Services when I was doing a project for Delaware County Community Foundation. And we were studying civic engagement among older residents in Delaware County. And so that was one of the organizations, a number of others. But I was so impressed. I had heard about it before, but I didn't really know anything about it. I was so impressed when I went up and visited, I guess, your predecessor.
Barbara Frentress, yes.
Yeah. And other people, and then went to the Broomall location, and I think the one out in
Media?
No,
Havertown.
It was Havertown. But there was also one out in on Lancaster Avenue.
Well, Berwyn was our headquarters before we moved. Yes. Yeah, right there by the Goodwill.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know it to be a well-run, highly regarded, successful enterprise that benefits hundreds, maybe thousands of seniors in the region. But having said all that, I also know something about you and your track record and where you've been, and I guess some of your life goals. What in the world attracted you to Surrey Services at this stage of your life, particularly?
Great question, and a lot of people ask me that. You know, I'm not a pup anymore, and this is my 4th career. I love the nonprofit world. And I had an early start in my early 20s, getting involved. We could not have children, and I got involved with a gentleman by the name of Artie Elgard, and was one of the founding directors of an organization called Golden Cradle Adoption Agency. And what we did was we used marketing because we didn't know anything about social service. So we raised some money, and we took ads out on billboards and on train trestles saying pregnant, need help, free housing, free medical, 1-800-289-BABY. And within 3 years, we got to be one of the largest in the United States. We were featured on 60 Minutes and Good Morning America.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and my kids are adopted when I was 27 and 30, and they're grown and doing great. And then fast forward, when I left the corporate world in 2001, because I wanted to do my own thing, I wanted to get back into the nonprofit world. So in the last X years, I've served on 9 different boards. I've consulted with maybe a dozen plus nonprofits. But I always wanted to apply this thinking of using marketing to grow a mission. And last year, around the spring, I guess 2015, one of the executives in Surrey called me up and said, you know, our CEO, Barbara's leaving. Would you be interested? And I said, no, I ain't got the life of Riley. Why do I want to do that for? But I got this yen. I said, we know what I got to lose. I said to my wife, I'll throw my name in the hat. So we went through 6 months of discussions. And
6 months?
6 months from the time I put my name in until they hired me, between a recruiter and interviews and role plays and writing papers. It was a serious, they started with 150 candidates. And so I started January 4th, and my reason was I wanted to find a mission that I cared about. So aging is important to all of us.
Yes.
You know, they say 10,000 people turn 65 every year. I wanted
every day.
Every day, excuse me, every day. I apologize. Excellent. I wanted to find a mission that could grow. And I also wanted to work with an organization where our balance, we're about 5 million a year. So it's a decent sized nonprofit. And I wanted to make sure there was a good board and good leadership team and good programming. All the check marks were there. And I said, you know what, I can make a difference. You know, I feel young, just like you. And I said, I can make a difference in this society, in this world, in this community. So that's why I did it. And you know what, a year later, I am blessed. I meet people and work with people who are 80, 85, 90 years old, who are
Yes.
virile
Yes.
and funny and
Yeah.
engaging. And it's really given me a very, very good feel about myself and my future. Because most of the work I've done, Rick, was involved with children on the boards I've served in the economy. So I never really dealt with aging, you know. And one of the questions asked, what's your experience with aging? I said, I'm getting old. That's pretty much my experience.
Firsthand.
Yeah.
Firsthand
Yeah.
experience.
But it really is, and then also the culture. I missed, Rick, the family culture of working. I worked for Bell Atlantic for 20 years, and we were a family. And I miss that family culture, and I have that at Surrey. It's a wonderful place.
But for somebody who was accustomed to fast-paced decision-making, gather information, move, has it been a difficult transition to what I assume is a slower pace? At least it was before you arrived. A slower pace, where decision-making is more consensus-driven, committees, boards, and so on.
Yes and no. One of the reasons why I looked at Surrey was the board is a very strong board made up of a lot of very successful local business people in the area who are successful business people. And their motto is, don't be afraid to fail quickly. So they're willing to take risk. You know, and you know, in the nonprofit world, I tease, George Carlin had 10 words you couldn't say on TV.
Yes.
And I came up with 5 words you can't say in the nonprofit world: risk, competition, sales, profit, and marketing. Well, fortunately, my organization is not afraid of those words. And while we may not move at lightning speed, we move faster than most nonprofits. They're willing to try things. Strategic partnerships are involved. They love it. And I had to slow down a little bit. I will admit, my first 6 months, I probably drove my staff crazy with ideas. But it really moves faster than you think. And mostly because we have we serve 6,000 people in Delaware and Chester County. And we can serve 2-3 times that. Our issue is getting people to know who we are.
It's Surrey Services for Seniors.
Correct.
How do you define a senior?
We look at 55 and above as really as a senior. And I don't like to use the word senior, to be honest. I like to use the word older adult. Senior seems to have a negative connotation. We serve older adults. And we use 55 as a mark. But let's be honest, if you're 50 or 54, you need help, we'll help you. And the thing about it is, we try to be an organization that's there not just for the older adults, it's for their families.
Yes.
Because most cases, the families need help.
Absolutely.
You know, I remember my dad when he was in his 80s and we had to find a place. We had no idea. My sister and I just took a shot at a place that worked out. But today, my generation has got parents who are older, need help to figure out how to help.
Just a quick commercial for a project I'm involved in.
Yeah.
I'm producing a film on dementia and Alzheimer's from a caregiver's perspective, because they're the ones who suffer the most.
Absolutely.
Over the long period.
It is overwhelming, and we're looking at that ourselves. And I had about...
You want to sponsor the film?
Yeah, we could talk about it. I had a year and a half ago, I met a young couple who wanted to start a nonprofit. And we sat down, and I help a lot of people, and I sat down, I convinced them not to, because people don't realize there's 40,000 501c3s in our area.
Yes.
But I said, what do you want to do? And they told me a story. And the husband said, well, my dad had Alzheimer's, late stages, really bad. And my mom was a caregiver all the time. And we were getting ready to have our first child. I went over to visit my mom and dad. And sadly, my mom committed suicide right in front of my face.
Oh, my God.
And he said, Bob, if she would have had respite care for even a weekend, she'd be here. And I went,
yep.
So when I met the folks at Surrey, I said, you know what? I want to get involved in doing something there. Because it is the caregivers that need the help.
I don't know if you remember, but the old Presbyterian Hospital, before it was acquired by Penn, the then CEO, whose name I don't remember, but he really was a marketeer. He understood the market and how to tap. He created what I believe was the first hotel hospital in the country, precisely for caregivers and other people, as well as those who were afflicted with one thing or another, so that they could come in a comfortable, secure environment for at least a weekend to give caregivers a break.
It's all it takes.
Yeah.
And you know, I know, and I've just had some recent surgery myself, and my wife was my caregiver, and the work she had to do.
Yeah. She phoned me. She's fed up.
She should be. But it was really an eye-opener for me, because for the first time in my life, I was dependent totally on somebody.
It's a terrible feeling,
I couldn't
isn't it?
drive.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get up.
Yeah.
So it really helped me in what I do for a living.
Yes.
And I'm like you. I think we need to spend more time helping people. And Seri does that because what happens with Seri is, we do a lot of things. We're not just people see us either at transportation or home care or a senior center, but we do a lot of things, but we give peace of mind to families.
But you are in 3 distinct areas,
Yes, we are.
according to what I've read.
Yeah.
Home care, transportation, and senior centers.
Right.
What are the services? Are there fees for those services? How do you make money?
Oh, well, a lot of our money is from people being very kind to us. But we're no different than a lot of nonprofits.
Plus grants?
Grants and foundations, yes. United Way is very nice to us. Pew Foundation, very good to us. But it's a lot of very generous people. Some of the churches in the area. But we also have some things we charge for. Now we charge a very high amount to be a member of Seri. It's $35 a year. Okay, very expensive.
It's gone up.
It used to be 20 when it was founded, and that basically allows you to utilize our services. And we also have classes in our various centers that if there's a paid teacher that we charge maybe $1 or $2 for the class. But really, I guess the larger amount of our balance sheet comes from home care services. We provide companion care. We provide house cleaning. We don't do home health, but we do companion and house cleaning.
Right.
And it's probably about, we're about a $5 million a year budget. It's probably about $1.7 million. And we're very economical. We're a nonprofit. We try to make money to help our mission.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle. I will tell you, it's not been easy. We're up against a lot of folks, and at times we run into a little. Right now, we're struggling right now to keep it going in some ways because of all the services we provide. We do transportation for free.
But you've also got more and more competition in home care.
Home care is very competitive, but I believe, and one of the reasons I was brought in, we have done no marketing for the most part. Now, I just hired a brand new senior director of home care, Frank Burrow. I have a lot of confidence in him. He's well connected. He's going to grow it. And if we can grow that, the more we can bring home care services to the community, the more revenue we'll have to help.
I see your pamphlets in doctors' offices,
we try,
waiting rooms, and so on.
Yeah. And I also think that the difference is we approach it holistically, Rick. When we work with a family, we look at everything. We just don't do the pieces. Nobody does that. So if they need a ride, we give them a ride. We have 1,000 volunteers in all of our centers.
How many vehicles?
We only own 4 vehicles, but we have 60 people who drive their own car.
Oh, really?
With their own, out of their own pocket. They pay for their own gas maintenance, and they work and take people to doctors, hospital, shopping, some hairdressing. In fact, we're starting, Rick, 2 programs. Real soon we'll be doing weekends to help people get the services.
Right.
Maybe go to visit a loved one into a cemetery. And then we're also working with the American Cancer Society. We're going to start transporting people through their treatments for their chemo and radiation.
So you're the Huber for seniors.
We will like to be that, and we are working with a firm right now that will develop an Uber-like app that we can use that a senior could push a button on their iPad or their tablet, and it'll be an icon of Seri, and we'll get the best economical way for them to get there.
Are you finding that seniors, the people whom you serve, are becoming more facile, more competent with the technology that you rely on?
Yes, especially with tablets. I think you see more and more people using tablets. The smartphones are still a struggle. We have classes. In fact, next week, Vanguard's volunteering to come in to teach people with their volunteers to teach our folks how to use technology. We're not there yet. I mean, I'd say 60% of our people we serve may not even have an email address. But we have to be prepared for the future, for your generation, my generation, us together, because we're much more adept at technology.
But as we said before, it's the caregiver, so it's the children of your clients, the people you're helping.
And we have to do a much better job at getting them involved because we've been very careful about that. If the older adult we serve doesn't want us to reach out to them, we don't. But we need to get people more educated on what could happen if you need to take care of somebody, especially if they lose. I just had my cousin just lost his wife. It was 62 years together. He's by himself.
My brother-in-law just lost his wife just before Christmas, and in almost 60 years. It's tough.
Yeah, especially if that person had a big role of doing things, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And he was her caregiver.
Right.
Because she'd been ill for so long. You mentioned volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
You must depend heavily on volunteers. You couldn't possibly afford the salaries to
We would not be in
deploy
existence.
that number of people.
It is.
Are you finding it easier to recruit volunteers who stick with you? Because one of the things I learned when I was doing this study was that particularly boomers, if boomers can't connect with your cause, your mission, get excited about what you're doing, they'll leave.
It is
And
a
you
challenge.
can't get them back.
Well, the challenge, and we understand it, because we do so many things. There's a wide variety of what people could do to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a process. We bring you in and we educate you on all the services, and we talk to them. And a lot of our volunteers are very professional people who get involved. In fact, a lot of our boards start out as drivers. The difficulty today is, you're exactly right. If you don't engage them in something they enjoy,
Yes.
they'll go someplace else. So what we also find is the length. We have volunteers. We have a woman, 32 years, been volunteering in our finance department. Nancy, she's been phenomenal. But the length is different, okay? So we do have to work hard to
Yes.
recruit. Now, we had a situation now, we're now doing the, taking care of the meals, developing the meals for Meals on Wheels mainline. We started last, in October. We put a local request out for volunteers. We had 35 in 24 hours.
It's marvelous.
That said, I want to come in
Yeah.
the morning and pack and do things. So it's a cause. The cause meant the people.
Yes.
So what we have to do, like right now, we're getting ready to market people to volunteer drivers for American Cancer Society. That'll hit certain people's, I want to help. So you have to be unique. You have to market for volunteers like anything else.
Right.
You got to keep them engaged, and you got to recognize them.
Talk about marketing. You are a marketing guru.
I enjoy marketing. Let's
You
put it that way.
believe, you said at the outset, you wanted to test your thesis
Yeah.
that apply marketing and you can grow, marketing techniques. What particular marketing techniques or principles have you been applying or hope to apply that you would have used in the for-profit world?
Unfortunately, since we don't have a lot of money to do what I would call the true marketing, most of what we're doing
It's
now,
guerrilla marketing.
it's guerrilla marketing. We're doing partnerships.
Uh-huh.
We're really working with a lot. I have 24 different strategic partnerships in some way, shape, being formed to work with folks that are complementary to what we do, and to figure out how we could help them. So, for example, Trinity House is up the street from us. It's got 150 residents, tend to be lower income. We're working a program that all the residents will be our members. We'll provide services for them. And the people who run Trinity House are looking to take care of their fees. So we're looking to partner. We're looking to look at all the organizations that have senior living to work with them. It's really going to be guerrilla marketing.
Principally for transportation?
No, we're looking for any way we can help older adults that live there. Some it's transportation. Some of it is we're willing to even take our programming to them. So
Right.
Trinity House will bring programming there. It may be a simple thing as enjoying our newsletter. And we have a newsletter that goes out to 6,000 people, and soon we'll have advertising for it. Typical way to do some marketing.
Sure.
But it is guerrilla because you know what? You can't use TV, you can't use radio, use print. It's really getting the people to know. So
You're using social media then, I'm
using
sure.
social media, I hired just this week a business development manager. I hired a salesperson. He's going to go out and sell Surrey. What I mean by that, he's going to go and make agreements to churches, to meet with the churches about what we can do for their parishioners. We're going to ask them, do you have parishioners who can't get to church on Sunday
Right.
or can't get to synagogue on services? We'll help them out. So it's really getting our brand outside of who know us. And by doing that, people go, oh, Surrey Services, I know that.
Yeah.
And then last year, we have over 1,000 different donors. Now, I'm starting a program this year called The Power of One. And what that means is I'm asking every volunteer, 1,000, every donor, 1,000, every member, 6,000, to get one more donor, or one more volunteer, or one more member. And if they all did that, I can double the size of Surrey Services. Simple thing.
What new, as I mentioned, you are in or have been traditionally in 3 areas, home care, transportation, and senior centers. What other areas are you moving into? How are you going to expand services?
You know, I have a belief you don't expand until you conquer what you're doing well now.
Right.
So we have a lot of work to do in transportation. Jean LaRoche, who was the founder 35 years ago, started in her attic a club to transport people. And now here I am, 35 years later, is really what we need. We need to help people. There are so many homebound people.
Yes.
So I want to build transportation in Chester, Delaware County, and once I can build it, maybe expand to Montgomery County. Home care, we can go anywhere, okay? And our centers, pretty much I think where we are right now, we'll stay with. The senior centers are tough because the average older adult will not usually go to a senior center. It's got a perception that's, I'm not doing that. I'm not old yet.
Really?
Yeah. Now, when we built the Devon location, it's called Center for Healthy Living. It's a different model because everybody's engaged. We have classical music classes. We have opera classes. We have yoga. We have a fitness center there.
And you don't call it a senior center.
No, it's a Center for Healthy Living. And Rick, I think what I'd like to see happen is the center becomes more of a community center.
Right, yes.
And right now, I'm trying to get some movement in Delaware County to build a Devon-like facility in Delaware County in the media area, because our facility there is very small, we're very restrained there. And I'm trying to find the same kind of people we had in Chester County, both donors and people say, we want that here. So we're looking around 10,000 square feet. We could need a lot of money, to help make this thing go. But it's a Center for Healthy Living, totally different. And I don't know if you come to you've been to our new place.
Yes,
yeah,
I have.
The cafe is beautiful. We have a chef.
Yeah.
For $4, we give you a phenomenal lunch.
What about some of the vacant school buildings in some of the districts?
Well, we're in, as you know, in Havertown, we're in a school building. We're in the basement of the school building. The dilemma is we want to build something that's unique that people want to come to. And a lot of your older buildings don't have air conditioning.
It's not accessible.
There. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, we're open. Especially if we find the right angel or angels to help us, it'd be really important.
With the transformative changes that are occurring in healthcare, with bundled payments, with everything that's coming out of Obamacare as a result of the new rules and regulations and so on, doesn't that create opportunities for services? If hospitals and physician groups are now concerned, particularly in orthopedics, about taking care of a patient for at least 90 days, avoiding readmissions to hospitals, therefore they run the risk of losing money, doesn't that provide an opportunity for you to step in and say, we can help you?
Absolutely. You're going to see in 2018, we go to a managed care provider organization.
Right.
And we believe we can play in that game and be their partner. One of the things we help is, our mission is to keep people at home.
Right.
And again, I'm going to refer to my own experience. That week or two after my surgeries, if I didn't have someone there, like my wife, to help me, I would have had to find somebody to do it.
Right.
I believe that if hospitals will work with us and let us take care of someone for that first week, you don't go back in the hospital. And I think there is an opportunity. Now, Frank Burrow, who you just hired, his background is in that. It's one of the reasons why we hired him. We have a home health care license. We just don't use it right now.
Home health care.
Home health care license. We can do home health care. We have a license. We're approved.
Right.
We just haven't used it yet.
Right now you're doing home care only.
Home care only.
Personal hygiene.
Everything up to companion. We'll bathe, we'll feed,
Is it
we'll
a full
shop.
concierge service?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right.
And we have about 100 caregivers right now. Now our caregivers are employees.
And
Much different than a lot of
they are
organizations.
certified or whatever.
We put them through a process. We vet them. We do quality control. But they're employees. They're not 1099.
Right.
Big difference. And we're always looking to expand, give them more work. And that's our big issue is really
But how do you compete with the home care franchises that are popping up all over the place? Visiting Angels, for example.
Visiting Angels.
Franchises.
Bayada,
Yeah.
The market's big. It's like, do you stop opening up a restaurant when there's all these restaurants down the street, right? So to me, competition is good because it makes the market aware of the need. We just have to be better than them. And the way we're better is, first of all, we're a nonprofit, which is important, but more importantly, the holistic approach that when we help a family, when we help an older adult, there's many things we can do for them.
Right.
And I think we really, we have some clients in Wellington, in Westchester.
Oh, yeah.
And I stopped in last week, the two of them, one's 92, one's 90, one's 93, and brought them some flowers because it's right by my house. And they said, nobody else would do this.
Yeah.
All of our staff is really dedicated to helping people. Big difference. And again, we're not always thinking of the bottom line. Our rates are competitive. I won't say we're the cheapest in town, but we're not the most expensive. and we pay our people pretty well, probably better than the average.
We talked earlier about dementia and Alzheimer's. Do you provide special services?
Not right now, but it is. We're getting ready, Rick, we started this month, developing the next 5-year strategic plan.
Right.
It'll be 2018 to 22. And I know it'll be part of it because we believe we have to be a player. We have to be a player in it. There is, in this area, there is no, that I know of, really no good place that someone with early stage dementia can go to.
Oh, there are memory centers, many of them parts of CCRCs.
Yeah, but they're struggling.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive and they're struggling. And the problem is, what happens if you can't afford it?
Yeah.
You know, and see, that's what we serve a lot of people.
Sure.
You know, I'd say, I won't give you the exact percentage because I don't want to be wrong, but a good percentage of the people we serve have incomes less than $30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And on the main line, people think we're on the main line.
Yeah.
No, there's people who really need help.
Yeah. What's your biggest challenge? You've mentioned funding, you've mentioned volunteers, but other than those two obvious, what's the biggest challenge you face now?
Managing optimism.
Managing optimism. What
There's
does that
so
mean?
much I want to do.
Oh.
There's so much we could do. Is I got to be careful we don't overextend ourselves from both a resource point of view and a financial point of view. Every meeting I have, every discussion I have gets me excited. I'm an excitable guy. So I got to keep my eye on the ball. That's personally. Organizationally, it's always about money. It's always about money. But it's also about, you know, retaining the resources we have. We have good people, keeping them. I believe we treat our people very well. But it's not easy.
So this is your chance to make a pitch. All right?
Okay.
You've got 30 seconds to make your pitch.
There you go. So if I'm talking to the audience, and one thing before I start, I want to thank Radnor Township is a very benevolent group of people. Radnor Township supports Surrey every year, and I want to thank them because they've been here since 1986 supporting us. So not a lot of townships do that. My main pitch is we need a couple things. I need volunteers. Well, we have 1,000. We need more. People who would like to drive and help people, even an hour or two a week, 1 or 2 days a week would be fine. We're also looking for more people to help us financially, but that's every nonprofit. But also, I tell folks, find out what we do. Spread the word that Surrey is here to help older adults and their families really have peace of mind. And to me, we want to be able to be the point when people say Surrey, they go, they're a great organization. They help my mom or dad or my uncle and aunt or grandparent. And I'll be proud of that.
So if somebody were to call, they just ask for Bob, huh?
I guarantee you call me and I have a cell phone and I will be more than happy to take calls personally. I do it today and I enjoy that. I'm an early bird. I'm usually in the office at 6:15, but I will tell you I'm out by 6:15. I don't do nighttime stuff anymore. But I will help anyone. And somebody asked me if I would speak to a group. And I said, I'll talk to anybody, anywhere about our mission.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here.
You're a good man. Thank you for doing
Delighted
this.
to have you. Again, my guest has been Bob Madonna, who is the President and CEO of Surrey Services. I'm sure you've heard of Surrey Services. There's much more to learn about them. So check out the website. Until next time, this is 30 Minutes. I am Rick Anthony. Take very good care of yourselves.